Advanced topics in project management, the midterm questions solution, batch 23, semester 4 MBA project management specialization. Question number 1. The project management plan specifies that a predictive development approach has been selected to produce the project deliverables, where in the project lifecycle the overall project risk be the lowest, and explain. So a diagram is being given starting from A, starting of the project, B, organizing and preparing, C, carrying out the work, and D, closing the project. Answer is D, closing phase. Projects are differ from ongoing business activities. A project life cycle is process comprised of different phases. So generally we classify into 4 or 5 phases, and in some books you can find it in 4 main phases like CDEF, standing for conceptual phase, design or development phase, execution phase, and finishing phase. Each phase has specific requirements and objectives, and each phase has uncertainty and risk which is vary from each other. Project risk and uncertainty typically involve due to the uniqueness of the undertaking, complexity, use of limited resources, time, and cost constraints. The project life cycle based on important characteristics to reduce uncertainty and risk. So let me tell one by one. Cost and staffing level. There is concentration of cost and staffings are slight at the beginning, increased towards the completion, and decreasing rapidly towards the end of the project. Second, adding value. It means the ability to control the cost and add value to the project's output is at its greatest during the conceptual phase, that is the initial phase, and its least during the finishing phase. Probability of project success at the start of the project. The chance of successfully completing the project is lowest. Therefore, the risk and uncertainty are highest. The likelihood of successful completion generally gets progressively higher as the project continues. Potential savings and cost to change as a project progresses. The cost of alterations or addition increases. The earlier the project life cycle that errors are identified, the cheaper they are to correct. As the project progresses, the ability to achieve saving diminishes. Similarly, the cost to change increases as the project progresses through the project life cycle. And the last one, ability of the stakeholders influence. Generally, at the starting of the project, the stakeholders are able to influence the final characteristics of the project's outcome and the final cost of the project. So as a conclusion, the level of uncertainty and risk is highest during the conceptual and design or development phase, and it is lower or least at the closing phase. Second question. You are managing a project to build 5 bridges. The project consists of 5 sequential phases with each phase delivering on bridge. After the first phase of the project is complete, which process group of the second phase should follow? Explain. See the first sentence, it is just mentioning about the 5 bridges. But in the second paragraph, just read it carefully. After the first phase of the project is complete, that is the initiation phase is complete, which process group of the second phase, which process group the second phase should follow. That is, second phase is planning. So which phase the planning should follow? So generally we studied in project management, the output of one phase will be the input for other phases. The output of one task should be, or maybe the input for more than one task or for a single task. So here the question is asked just to confuse you. The answer is initiation phase. The initiating process group is made up of two processes, that is, develop project charter and identify stakeholders. The initiation process group is performed to define new project and new phase of an existing project by obtaining authorization to start the project or phase. The purpose of this process group is to align the stakeholders' expectations and the project purpose, inform stakeholders of the scope and objectives, and discuss how their participation in the project and its associated phases can help to ensure their expectations are met. In the scenario described over here, you are about to start a new project phase. Therefore, you should start with the develop project charter phase. It does not necessarily mean you would develop a new project charter for each consecutive project phase, but it means that you will perform the process of the initiation process group starting with the develop project charter process. You will review the project charter to see if the high-level assumptions and constraints made during project initiations are still valid and whether or not the market conditions are still favorable for the project. Performing this process may result in an update of the charter or an add to the project charter. That means updating to the project charter. In an extreme scenario, the project may result in project termination. Therefore, starting the new phase of the project with the processes of the initiation process group is the best answer to the question asked. Question number 3. The project sponsor asks for a copy of the document that contains the description, owner, source, priority, and status of product requirements. Which project documents is the project sponsor requesting, and explain? The options are the requirement management plan, the requirement traceability matrix, the scope management plan, and the work breakdown structure. The answer is the requirement traceability matrix. So in this scenario, the project sponsor requested a document that provides specific information about the product requirements of your current project. So automatically the requirement traceability matrix is a grid that links product requirements from their origin to the deliverables that satisfy. Typical attributes used in the requirement traceability matrix are a unique identifier, a textual description of the requirements, the rationale for inclusion, owner, source, priority, version, current status, and status date, etc. Additional attributes to ensure that the requirement has met stakeholders' satisfaction may include stability, complexity, and acceptance criteria. Question number 4. You are about to start planning for a large and complex project. Due to the size of the project along with the regulatory and environmental consideration, the development of a detailed project management plan will be critical. As a starting point for initial project planning, what is the first thing you should do? Options: conduct a project kickoff meeting to inform and engage stakeholder and gain commitment. review the project charter to understand the high-level information about the project, begin the process of identifying stakeholders so they can be engaged as necessary for project planning, share the project scope statement with the project team for a common understanding of project deliverables. The answer is review the project charter to understand the high-level information about the project. So here the question states that the project planning is about to begin, which suggests that project initiation has been completed. The project charter is created during the develop project charter process as part of the project initiation. The project team uses the project charter as a starting point for initial project planning. The type and amount of information in a project charter varies depends on the complexity of the project and the information known at the time of its creation. At a minimum, the project charter should define the high-level information about the project that will be elaborated in the various components of the project management plan. So let me provide you the details of the other options which is been given. So first one, conduct a project kickoff meeting to inform and engage stakeholders and gain commitment, which is incorrect because the project kickoff meeting is usually associated with the end of the project planning and the start of the execution. Therefore, the kickoff meeting is not likely to be the first activity for project planning, making it as an incorrect answer. Second one, review the project charter, which I already explained. Third one, begin the process of identifying stakeholders so they can be engaged as necessary for project planning, which is also incorrect because the identify stakeholder process is part of the initial process group. The question states, the question asked is for project planning is about to begin, which suggests that the process associated with the initial process group has already been completed. Therefore, the identification of stakeholders is not the first activity to be completed for project planning. And fourth one, share the project scope statements with the project team for a common understanding of project deliverables. The project scope statement is an output of the define scope process, which is one of the processes in the planning process group. As such, it is not yet available at the starting of the project planning. Therefore, this answer choice also can be eliminated. See, the questions which I asked for the midterm examinations are basically from the PMP old questions. If you remember in the end of the chapter number 8 or part number 8, I mentioned how to answer or how to select the answer for the project management plan. There are 4 options is mentioned. Option number 1, read the answers and then go back to the question. Number 2, read the question and then come to the choices. Third one, read only essential part of the questions by eliminating the unwanted things and then select the answer. And fourth one is going through the questions completely, imagine an answer and then write. So these 4 options can be used for PMP examination. As you know, the project management professional examination need much practice. So practice it thoroughly and then appear for the exams. Thank you. So tips for the exams, answering strategies. Read the questions, read answers A, B, C, D and decide. Read first the answers, then read the questions and decide. Read the last sentence of the question first, just by focusing on the main points and ignoring the ballast. Only then read the rest. Read the question, then imagine what the answer should be, then read the answer and select the best one.